It's Bitcoin, y'all. I'm your host, Zoom Out. I'm here to talk to you about Bitcoin and energy, because there's a lot of people out there saying that Bitcoin is bad for the environment. And I'm going to argue today that that is not fully seeing the picture. So, real quick, there's proof of work, mining, all these things. I've discussed the how and the way those do in previous videos. You can go back and watch. I've got a few called Demystifying Bitcoin Mining. Those are good videos to watch. I'm not going into the details of that today. Just suffice it to say that to do those things, it consumes a lot of energy. It consumes energy to do the mining itself by the computers, and then it consumes energy to cool those computers because you have to blow fans on them. And so it does consume a lot of energy. And you'll see these articles out there that'll say, it consumes more energy than whatever, some small country. Okay, that sounds horrible and scary, but to put things in perspective, just using that example of, it uses more than some country. So drying your clothes with a tumble dryer, an electric or gas tumble dryer, consumes more energy than Bitcoin mining as a whole, like globally. We expend a lot more energy drying our clothes than we do mining Bitcoin. So there's just some perspective for you. And what's the purpose of drying clothes? It's only convenience. There is no added benefit. The only benefit is it saves you time and makes your life easier. There is no greater good that comes from that. And yet, most of us seem to be okay with drying our clothes in dryers. So that just gives you a little perspective on it. But I want to focus on something else, and that is this idea of proof of work versus proof of stake, because this is how they'll put it. They're going to say, hey, we've got this proof of stake, and it's an alternative to proof of work, and it doesn't consume as much energy. And real quick, proof of stake is not an alternative to proof of work. What proof of work does, when you get into the details of how it works, it maintains the decentralization of the network. It maintains that the issuance policy of the Bitcoin is random and no one can take it over. It keeps it to where anyone can run a node, a copy of the ledger on your computer, and keep an eye on the bank, on all of the transactions. It's a completely open, decentralized network. And the way that they were able to accomplish that is through proof of work. Proof of stake can allow for some of the same use cases, but not the same level of decentralization. Proof of stake means that if you have more, you can stake them, you can put those coins out onto the network, and that gives you some type of either voting power, or it allows you to influence the system in some way. And so it becomes possible that all you have to do, if you're a country or a group that want to take over that system, all you have to do is accumulate more than anyone else, and then you can take over the system. Proof of work is literally the only purpose of it is to keep that from happening, so that no country or group of people can take over the network and then deny other people access to it. So proof of stake doesn't ensure that, and proof of work does. So I'm just going to make the argument that there is a greater good that comes from this energy consumption. Unlike when I dry my clothes in a dryer, it's just convenience. With proof of work, there's a greater good, which is using less energy globally than drying your clothes, but it also ensures that the system stays decentralized and no one can be shut out. If you choose to participate, you can own Bitcoin, you can transact with it, you can be a part of that system. It doesn't matter what you believe, how you look, what you did in the past, what you're going to do in the future. It's literally free, open market to anyone. And that's the value of it. And that's only made possible by proof of work. There are more interesting, deep-level concepts when it comes to energy. There are actually areas in the country and worldwide, but in Texas, for example, where they're using Bitcoin mining warehouses essentially as batteries for our on-demand power grid with renewable energy. So if you want to build a wind farm or a solar farm and you have a lot of wind or sun in the area you live in, then a lot of that energy is just going to go to waste if no one's using it. And it costs a lot of operation expenses to operate those solar or wind farms. And so if you've got a Bitcoin warehouse, mining warehouse there consuming that energy, then and paying the solar farm or the wind farm, then it allows them to stay online and operate so that when houses need energy to heat their house or turn their lights on or whatever, that farm is open and operational, has been kept up with, and it's working properly. And the economics of this thing are such that to be profitable mining Bitcoin, you have to be getting pretty cheap energy. So in situations where energy is scarce because something happens, say there's a natural catastrophe or something, then the miners don't even have to be asked to shut down. They just do because it's no longer profitable. And that allows all of that energy that they were consuming to flow to other places that need it, like people's homes. So that's getting a little deeper. There's a whole lot of details to that, and there's a whole, rabbit hole to go down there. For one last thing, ExxonMobil just announced that they're going to be taking their methane gas that they capture. So when you drill the oil, it releases methane gas, and that has to be captured and disposed of in some way, so a certain amount of it, so that it doesn't go up into the atmosphere. And so what you're seeing with that is now they can take that methane and they can burn it and use it to mine Bitcoin, and it becomes more profitable. And so that's just in America, we have laws that they have to do that anyway. They have to capture that methane. But if some big company like Exxon can prove that this is a profitable market, then all of a sudden places that don't have those laws, like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, they're shooting a bunch of methane up into the air and making the carbon footprint greater and causing the warming of the world and all that stuff. Well, they'll be economically incentivized to start mining Bitcoin and use the gas in a way that is better for the environment. So there's a bunch of ways that I think long term Bitcoin is actually going to be net positive for the environment. But the main point of this video is just that there is a purpose to it. There's a value to it. And it uses less than we use to dry our clothes globally. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments below if you have any questions. Thank you for listening today, and hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.